Today, you join me back out on the beaches at Milford Shingle Bank. But hey, ignore what's behind there, ignore those crashing waves, because today we're fishing the backwaters of Milford Shingle Bank. I've got the lure rod ready, a box full of lures. Come on, let's go have some fun. All right, to start us off, we're going with a little Pop Walker 90, which is just a little surface lure, 10.7 gram. Let's see if we can start off the session with a nice fish, early on. Cast nicely. And I have to say, this lure rod is my boat rod, and I do use fairly thick line on this. Thick braid, that is. Which isn't ideal for more shore fishing, but that is what we are dealing with today. Oh, I'll tell you what, these bass are teasing me. I feel like I just walk out and pick them up. I've just got a surface lure that I'm just trying to tempt them with. Look at that. I might have to change out lures here. Now, I don't fish from the shore with a lure rod an awful lot. I do it every now and then, but I very rarely film it. And I think the discipline of lure fishing from the boat, which is obviously, I do a lot, we're a little bit spoiled on the boat. You don't need to finesse your tactics, your lures, your lines as much as you do from the shore or when you're on land. The finessing, I think, is done very much where you position the boat, the tide, managing the boat with your fishing approach. Whereas the shore, I mean, I'm still fishing in a fairly big body of water, but it's nothing like what I do on the boat. On the boat, I might cover 20, 30 miles. Today, I'm probably going to cover a span of, I don't know, a few hundred meters. And it might just be a handful of fish that I'm targeting. So, I don't want to miss the opportunity to snag one up on a hook because of a poor approach, whether that's the way I'm working the lure choice, my line choice, which could well let me down. I have got a leader on today, which I don't typically use from the boat, and I don't think it's very needed for the boat. And off the boat, I'm fishing normally in a shoal of fish. I might be fishing amongst hundreds of bass or mackerel, whatever. Here, not so much. That's got to be the cast. Oh, you're right next to my lure. Can you see that? Oh, this is awesome. Just need a hook up. I'm picking up far too much weed. I'm going to switch back out to a weedless, not a weedless, top water. Just get out of this. The weed is slightly below the water's edge, or the water surface even. So I think staying on top will help. Right, well, I've seen so many fish on the drone and topping the water just walking along, so 100% angler skill for the reason I haven't caught yet, but what can you do, eh? I'm having fun regardless. It's absolutely stunning conditions. Autumn evening, water clarity is still really good, really, really nice. And We are, well, 1st of October today, is it? So we're still in that phase of the year that the big bass are about and feeding. Hopefully we can capitalise on that. Now, unfortunately for me, I had an extremely busy September. In fact, I was only able to fish twice in September, and I really wanted to go hard for the bass last month, with it being one of the best months for them, to find a big one, that is. Not to say October isn't, but September just always, it's my favourite month to fish. And there's probably a lot of you that agree with that. But work was insanely busy. I had 2 work trips abroad. I had COVID in the middle, and just couldn't do it. Just couldn't get out. I fished twice. One was the Southbourne session that you would have seen in my previous video, and also we had a session last week for the Paw Beagles, which I've got the footage. Big old sea. If you want to see how that went, go see Wally B Diaries, Martin's channel. We went out on his boat and he filmed as well. But I'm holding back that footage for a big shark video that will hopefully come out next year. And I also must add, as I catch onto a big load of weed, I do apologise for the lack of videos as well. I know my Monday schedule has not been met for, I think, a few weeks now. Depends on by the time I get this video out. But yeah, sorry about that. It will now improve. Oh, I keep seeing those fish topping where I was before. They seem to be bunched up in that area. I might have to just keep hammering it. I don't like the idea of casting a lure in the same spot for too long, but if that's where I'm seeing the fish, that's where I'm seeing the fish. As we can see from the aerial footage, I was fishing into a number of big mullet with some small bass dotted around and a good handful of bait fish chucked in for good measure. The mullet can be known to take a lure, but would have been better focus with a bread and float setup, or, my favourite way, a MEP spinner. On hindsight, focusing this session with some MEPs would potentially have seen more hookups, not only from the cruising mullet, but the small bass too. In fact, I've even started using MEPs when fishing from the boat. I find the flashing spoon mixed with a trailing hook really helps entice the bite when working a shoal of smaller bass. The trailing hook assisting in the fact that the smaller fish often just hit the tail of your lure, rather than inhale the whole thing. Whilst I don't like to overcomplicate my fishing, I do think it's good to reflect on your last session and think, what could I have changed for an improved result? Now, I am adopting the standard clock face approach with lure fishing here in this particular mark, where I'm essentially starting all the way to the left and then moving hour by hour, so 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midday, 1, 2, 3. Although to be fair, to my right hand side here there's a big patch of weed, so I can't fish that too much. But if I can get a lure just towards the edge of the weed there, that could be a nice little monster lurking inside. Now, one of the reasons I chose Milford Shingle is because, I mean, one, it's a stunning venue to come and fish with some lures. Fish light, one rod. I mean, I never fish light, to be fair. If you see my tackle box, it's full of camera equipment, batteries, lures. It weighs quite a lot, but light for me anyway. But I also have the option, with being right next to the sea, straight on some weed. And I have my squid jigs with me to have a little flick for some squid maybe later. Oh, a big bass over there. I can see right on the surface. Jesus. I wonder if I can get out to him. Let's see if I can get over the top of that weed. He's probably just beyond casting distance with this lure. So, I think we're going to switch out lures. So this is a 32 gram lure, much heavier, and this is quite shallow water. So all I'm doing is quite a fast retrieve on this one, keeping the rod tip up really nice and high. That way I'm staying out of the weed, staying out the bottom, and give it a few jerks up every now and then. You can see it just dancing on the surface, giving that real erratic kind of struggling baitfish feel. Hopefully, I'll entice a fish. Same spot that's just beyond the weeds that I can't quite cast to. Keep seeing that same fish topping over there. Well, I genuinely haven't caught a fish in over a month, I don't think. And that's not because I'm a terrible fisherman, I'm not amazing, but because I haven't had wet lines. So what I would give for a fish tonight of any size. Now I'm sure there's many of you purists out there that think that using things like drones for fishing, for sighting fish, finding out where the fish are held up, is not a purist way. But for me, as someone who makes content and makes YouTube, they do a lot to really enhance the content, I think, and make it more of an enjoyable watch. And I do think they're really, not essential, but a useful tool in your arsenal to catch fish, in my opinion. There'll be people that disagree with that, but a drone can be a bit of a game changer. There are so many bass here. I just need to connect into one. Nearly crunch time, nearly time to end the session. I'm probably going to give it about 30 minutes or so more of flicking the lure out, and then we'll call it quits. I would go and flick the squid jig around, but I've had a look at the other side of the shingle bank, and it is full of anglers. As far as I can see, nearly towards Hurst Castle, just full of anglers and tripods set up, which is great to see, but there's not much room for me to squeeze in and flick a jig around, so we might have to give that one a skip today. And I did have a chat with a gentleman who was lure fishing just on my right hand side, and he's not had any luck tonight as well, which makes me feel a little bit better. There's two lads to my left as well, and they don't seem to have pulled anything out. Been loads of fish around, but they just haven't been active. When I was chatting to him, sounds like we've both been trying lots of different tactics, different lures. We've had surface lures out, we've had sinking lures out, we've had slow retrieve, fast retrieve, all sorts of different things. Just haven't been able to switch the fish on today, which is frustrating, but still lovely to be out, honestly. Just marvellous. Absolutely fantastic, not gonna lie. But anyway, enough yapping. I'm gonna have a few more flicks, see if we can't bag one out. And where I'm fishing, there's a lot less weed than where I was before. I've moved up a little bit, where that guy's moved or packed up and gone home. It's meant there's a bit more space for me over to the right hand side here. So I thought I'd come give it a go. Now it is quite small tides at the moment, which could be making a difference. There's a stream, a channel to the left, which the bass and the mullet do flood into, and on the ebb tide it can be good fishing here. As the ebb tide goes out, all the bait fish and the bass and everything move out through that stream and through this passage that I'm standing in right now. Can be good. However, the water hasn't come up that high and it's been pretty shallow, so I don't think many fish would have moved into the stream and into the pond that's at the end, and they've kind of been held up right in front of me, but just not feeding or not showing any aggressive behaviour towards the lures or anything like that, which is a shame, but still, been good to see the fish. Oh, I thought it was a fish. It's not. It's a big bit of weed. I genuinely thought I was hooked in then. Oh dear. Well, I did say there's less weed here, not zero. Okay, that was definitely a hit. Yeah. Okay. That's promising. That was definitely something nabbing at the tail of my lure. All right, let's pay attention here. Could be a land of fish. Can hear them as well. Just casting into the abyss now, I love it. Can't see anything in front of me. It's open water. Feels like I'm back on the boat. Did you hear that? I hope you heard that. That was a big bass topping right next to my lure. Oh, should I put the top water back on? Decisions, eh? Ooh. Oh, I should have another take. Come on. This is the most optimistic I've felt all night. I've got to be quicker on the strike then, I think. I was a bit too slow. Right, well, I'm going to call it a night on what has been a fishless but really enjoyable evening out on the lures. As I mentioned, September's been really light on the fishing front for me, so it's been just enjoyable to get out, have a lovely sunset, a lovely moonrise, and chuck some lures out. I hope you've enjoyed the footage. Although we've not had a fish on the bank, we've certainly had some on camera. That drone footage I think was really cool. Cool to see the fish in front of us. We just couldn't get them hooked up today, but that's how it goes. Also, as I mentioned earlier, I apologise for the infrequent uploads over the last, well, September really, so the last month. We've got lots of trips planned over the next few weeks. Next week, I'm actually down Chesil for 3 nights. So it's a repeat. If you remember, those that were watching last year, we did the big Chesil trip in September. We're doing the same, but with a slightly different group, a new gang. Some familiar faces to the channel though, so that should be some really good fun. And hopefully we'll get into some good fish down Chesil as well. I haven't fished Chesil anywhere near as much as I did last year, so I'm keen to get back down and give it a go on the big beach. Beyond that, we've got some big boat trips planned. Hopefully I'm trying to get down to the Bristol Channel again before the end of the year, because that has been a thorn in my side for quite some time. So yeah, keen to give it another go. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.